How's it going, everybody? My name is Salty and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 class setups for SMGs here in Black Ops Cold War. All right, so quickly before we jump into this list, this is just my personal class setups. Your list could be completely different, and that's okay, because that means that the balance in this game is extremely good. That means that all of the weapons are viable. Some people could have the Lapa in their top 5. Some people could have the KSP. Some people's list could be 100% different from mine. It's all about play styles. It's all about what you use that you enjoy using most. So keep that in mind as we go over this list. Let's start with number 5. At number 5, I have the MP5. So the MP5 is kind of like a classic OG weapon here in Black Ops Cold War. It was extremely broken when the game first came out. It quickly got a nerf before Season 1 even launched, but it's still been a very viable choice here in the game. It's just like an all reliable. It's kind of like the M4 from Modern Warfare, the Maddox from Black Ops 4, the PPSH from COD World War II. It's just that weapon that can be used basically on any map. It's just always been a very good choice of weapon. Let's get into it here. My class setup is basically built around a low amount of recoil with decent amount of damage while still being able to fly around the map. All right, so first attachment we're going to be using here is going to be the infantry compensator. Now, this is just one of those attachments that gives it 0 recoil, 12% vertical here. The muzzle brake is also a good choice if you don't want to sacrifice the horizontal recoil, but personally, I just always like to use an infantry compensator. We're not sacrificing any effective damage range like we would be using suppressors here. Suppressors are also good choices, though, if you want to stay off the map. For the barrel, we have the 9.5-inch reinforced heavy. This gives us effective damage range and bullet velocity. Obviously, those are good statistics to be adding. The task force here, as you can see, one of the negatives is going to be recoil control, which is why I'm not really going with that one there. But the reinforced basically does the same as the task force, where it gives us 18 and 80%. Our effective damage range is at 11.99 meters, and our bullet velocity is at 450 meters per second. Those are very, very decent statistics for SMGs. Down to the underbarrel, we have the foregrip here. This gives us 14% horizontal recoil control. Now, we already took care of any vertical that was there with the infantry compensator. All that was left to cover was the horizontal. So basically gives us our reason why we're using the foregrip there. For the magazine, I like to use the 50-round drum. I still have a pretty snappy aim here, even while going with the 50-round drum. I just would not recommend going with any of the 40-round faster speed mags there, as that aim down sight speed will be a little slow. Now, we're skipping right over the handle and going to the Raider stock. We got the most amount of sprint to fire speed added to the weapon here at 30%, and 10% also added to the aim walking movement speed. I would love to hear your opinions of the MP5. I've gotten some mixed reviews on it here on the channel in the past, but for me, this is just one of those weapons. Like I said, it's just all reliable. Let's get over to number 4. At number 4, I have the KSP-45. I know a lot of people think this weapon is absolutely overpowered, and I would agree with you, but it's also a weapon that's not exactly easy to use because of the burst fire delay. If you miss some shots, you could find yourself in a little bit of problems, but at close range, there is no faster killing weapon. In my opinion, this is better than the Tech-9 when it comes to close range engagements. And once you spend the time to get used to it, it's an absolute blast to use. So let's get into the class setup here. Just like the MP5, I have the infantry compensator, but this is a little different. The KSP will not have 0 recoil just because of the bounce of the weapon, but recoil control is necessary here. The infantry compensator gives us 12%, just like the MP5. For the barrel, we have the 10.5-inch task force. We get 8% damage there. That's not all that important. It does bring that damage up to 54, but it's still 50 damage regardless of that added damage. The big two are going to be that added effective damage range and bullet velocity, 50 and 75% respectively there. That brings our effective damage range up to 22.86 meters and our bullet velocity to 463.75 meters per second. Those are very, very good statistics, almost on par there with the MP5, but the difference is this is a one burst kill as long as you're hitting those shots. So we're getting down to our next attachment where we have the field agent grip. One of the downsides of running that task force barrel is recoil control. So the field agent grip gives us another 6% vertical here added to the weapon, along with 20% horizontal. So between this and the muzzle, it is very, very easy to control. I don't think technically 22 meters is where the distance you could get a one burst kill. I really don't see myself shooting 22 meters and getting one burst kills just because the weapon's not exactly that accurate. But as long as you're pretty close range, it is very easy to get a one-shot kill with these recoil control attachments. For the magazine, we have the 42-round mag. We are not sacrificing any aim down sight speed here. And 42, let's be honest, what's the difference between 42 and 48? Maybe one kill at most, but 42 is still a lot of bullets into that magazine there. So preference attachment after everything's said and done, use whatever you're comfortable with. Down to the handle, the airborne elastic wrap. Most amount of aim down sight speed added to the weapon here, along with 90% flinch resistance and ability to drop shot. Definitely a very underrated weapon here in the game. It just kind of gets overlooked because of the Tech 9. But if you're looking for something different to try, definitely give this KSP a try. Let's slide over to number 3. At number 3, we have the AK-74U. This was the number 1 choice for the pro Call of Duty players for the SMGs. The AK-74U is sort of got the bullet velocity of an assault rifle, but also has very, very high damage for the fire rate. It's not one of those extremely low recoil weapons. It definitely likes to bounce side to side a little bit, but if you can really master this weapon, it's an absolute laser beam. It's an absolute beast on the map. And in my opinion, is one of the best SMGs in the game, seeing as how it's number 3. So let's get into it here, starting with the Spetsnaz Compensator, 12% vertical recoil control. Just like I said, it's not exactly the lowest recoil SMG in the game, but with this Spetsnaz Compensator, it's definitely manageable there. For the barrel, I like to use the 10.3-inch Task Force. We got 8% added damage, 50% effective damage range, and 75% bullet velocity. Just like the KSP, this obviously isn't a burst SMG, but the big two are going to be the effective damage range and bullet velocity there. Our damage is brought up to 41, meaning it's like that's extremely high damage here for an SMG. Our effective damage range is now at 11.43 meters, which isn't exactly the highest, but when you have that high damage, you can't exactly have the effective damage range, probably over that 11.43 meters. Our bullet velocity is now at 670.25 meters per second. Just like I said, that's on par with some assault rifles in this game. Just an overall great barrel of choice. It does sacrifice some recoil control there, but we're getting down to our underbarrel that's going to cover that. 7% vertical and 21% horizontal recoil control. The Spetsnaz grip is my choice here, only while using the Task Force. If you don't like the Task Force barrel and you want to go with like the reinforced or the Liberator, you can definitely swap this out for like the normal foregrip here or Spetsnaz speed grip. But while using the Task Force, I really highly recommend you use the Spetsnaz grip. For the magazine, this is really a preference. I honestly have the 50-round fast mag on here just because it looks good with the blueprint, but this does change for me. If I'm running on a bigger map, I do like to swap it out for the 40-round drum, but really you can use whatever it is based on the map you're playing. Finishing off the build, this is one that can be swapped out. So let's say you're going with the 40-round drum here. You can swap out the handle for a stock if you so please, but normally while I'm going with the Task Force barrel, I like to use that handle, and I like to use a 50-round fast mag. Grew Elastic Wrap is where we got this build with 30% added to the aim down sight speed, 90% flinch resistance, and ability to drop shot. This is one of my most requested weapons here on the channel, and I can definitely see why. That high damage, the good overall statistics of the weapon, it makes it a very viable choice here in Black Ops Cold War. We're going to now slide over to number 2. At number 2, we have the Tech 9. I'm sure many of you saw this coming. I know a lot of people like running the full auto repeater here on the Tech 9, but personally, I think that's kind of, you're kind of wasting potential with it. The burst fire repeater here is where we're starting the build. 17% added fire rate. Obviously, if it becomes a single auto to a burst fire weapon, it does sacrifice some effective damage range, but the difference between this and the full auto repeater, as you guys can see with the full auto repeater, we are sacrificing 18% damage there. So the burst fire gives us 53 damage in total. Also consider the barrel is on there. It sits at 50 without the barrel, meaning it's a 1 burst kill because it's a 3-round burst weapon. The full auto repeater brings the damage down to 45, meaning it's no longer a 3-shot kill unless you get a headshot in there. So this is an automatic 3-shot kill up to 23.77 meters. So we're getting down to the barrel that does add damage. The Task Force, we got 6% added damage, which puts it at that 54. Without it, it is at 50. But most importantly, the effective damage range and bullet velocity added to the weapon here, 50 and 75%. The effective damage range, like I said, is at 23.77 meters, and our bullet velocity is at 451.5 meters per second. I know the full auto repeater is technically the easier option to use. It's definitely easier to use a full auto weapon as far as accuracy goes. You have more, I guess, room to miss some shots, but this 1 burst potential is extreme. I think it's better than the KSP just because it has a little bit of a faster fire rate. It's just a little easier to use in my opinion. I guess this could go either way. I know some people like the KSP over the Tech 9, but you should definitely be using the burst fire repeater here. Down to the underbarrel, we have the Field Agent grip. The Task Force barrel does have that negative of recoil control, 6% vertical and 20% horizontal. I don't really seem to struggle much with recoil while using this underbarrel here. For the magazine, the 33-round fast mag, preference attachment. Once again, really feel free to use whatever it is you're comfortable with. And finishing off the build with the airborne elastic wrap, 30% added to our aim down sight speed, 90% flinch resistance, and ability to drop shot. We're going to get over to number 1. I know longtime fans of the channel are not going to be surprised by this one. At number 1, we have the LC-10. It just seems like it is the most viable options for a lot of situations here in Black Ops Cold War. It can be used like a very aggressive assault rifle while still competing with the SMGs at close range because of the fast fire rate. It's not exactly the highest damage SMG in the game, but it has basically no recoil. It has a very good bullet velocity, and overall, it just competes, like I said, in a lot of situations. Let's get started here. I have the Agency Suppressor for 7% vertical recoil control, but more importantly, the ability to stay off the map. This is a weapon that you are extremely aggressive with for the most part. Like I said, you do have that ability to take some assault rifle like gunfights, but with the fast fire rate, you are up close and personal with the LC-10 a lot, and I just really like the Agency Suppressor there. You can also go with the Sound Suppressor, Infantry Compensator, but personally, my preference is going to be the Agency Suppressor. For the barrel, I have the 14.5-inch Ranger. This is what gives it the ability to take some assault rifle like gunfights. Our bullet velocity is now up to 820 meters per second. For basically an assault rifle bullet velocity there. This is a barrel that I would highly recommend the Reinforced, the Ranger, or the Rifled. The Rifled I don't really see as necessary because it's just a very aggressive SMG. You really can't take gunfights like assault rifles with the rifle barrel because the bullet velocity isn't high enough. I just personally, I got 200 kills with this class setup. The Ranger is always my go-to. Down, we're skipping right over the body and underbarrel. 52 round fast mag, another preference type thing. If you're running on a bigger map, 52 round fast mag is not necessary, but it's normally what I use. For the handle, the airborne lash grab, again, most amount of aim down sight speed, 90% flinch resistance, and then ability to drop shot. And then finishing off this number 1 build with the Raider stock, 30% added to our sprint to fire speed, along with 10% also to the aim walking movement speed. That's my top 5 list. I would love to hear what your top 5 are down in that comment section. So make sure you go down there. Give me your list. Tell me if you agree or disagree, or you just like any of these class setups in general. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you could make sure you hit that like button for me, that'd be absolutely awesome. If you're new to the channel, make sure you also smash that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video.